And also because a God is being made or claimed to probably shouldn't be drinking so much Jack. A God is
Seemingly benign statement of I'm watching or listening to a debate on YouTube right now is going to be the sand of the sea, the drops of rain, and the days of eternity. Who can count them? The height of heaven, the breadth of the earth, the abyss, and wisdom. Who can search them out?
That will need to be demonstrated because from what we know, the universe and things within the universe behave as they are to behave. Precondition for knowledge, as I said, needs to be shown by my opponent. So in order to win this debate, I don't have to show an account for the laws of logic. I just need to show the incoherence of the argument. The concept of logic just is, but God just is a precedent. If you cannot account for God, you cannot claim that the God is responsible for other things or can be used axiomatically. But yeah, wasn't the most articulate, but I can see the rest of my time.
Okay, thank you guys both for those opening statements. Before we get into
No, what I meant to say, and I don't know if it was as articulate as I intended, but logic, how we use logic, we created that in order to interpret our environment, the thing to do so. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the universe has a mind. It just means that we do, and we're using logic to interpret.
So the laws of logic are changeable?
No. Sure. And the standard of what we know, how we know what is the laws of logic. And those have remained consistent because our environment has remained consistent and the universe is what it is.
Okay. And how is there these immaterial laws of logic in your worldview?
Immaterial laws of logic in my worldview.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, I'm just to give a quick disclaimer, I'm not the one saying that the laws of logic have to be accounted for in order for them to be used.
They don't have to be accounted for?
No, that's not what I said. I said I am not the one who is claiming that they do not have to be accounted for in order to be useful. Atheism is part of my, part of who I am and how I view the God claim. It really doesn't have much to do with how I interpret the world. I interpret the world as others do, as we do. We understand.
We don't interpret the world the same way.
For me, atheism is just my position on one aspect of life, not all aspects of life. So my question is,
the rest of the system is what I'm saying.
It may or may not, depending on what system we're talking about. But my question is for you, your claim is that knowledge cannot be accounted for, the laws of logic cannot be accounted for without the existence of God, or knowledge exists, therefore God. I want to know how you know that. When you say accounted for, I want to just go ahead and get a specific definition of how you use it, because people use it different ways.
The usage, I'm asking about the tool itself. You can't use the logic itself, the term, in the response when you're justifying or giving an account for it. That's
actually not true. I can. No, it's not. I can, and I'm about to.
You can do a fallacious move.
Okay. Well, what I'm about to tell you is that the way you said you wanted me to show the reasons for using it or how I can account for usage of it.
Reasons to believe in it.
Yeah, I'm about to tell you why. So the uses of logic, the reason that I believe, I mean, you want me to not say the word logic, but I'm going to.
Well, you can't use it in the definition.
I
when
can.
You're giving an account.
This isn't taboo. This isn't before. It is because you keep interjecting.
Yes, because it's a debate, and you're doing a fallacious move, right?
I'm actually not. I'm using it to define. I'm defining.
You're defining logic with
define. Okay. I'm saying, like, I define a candle as is not me using the candle to define a candle. I'm trying to say I define logic as, and you're saying I can't even use the word at all. That's not true.
No, you're defining it by saying we use it. We use I define logic as, and I give an account for logic because we use logic.
And the things that exist within our environment. We do that consistently because yes, we do that based on, excuse me, probably shouldn't have drank any Jack before this. Okay. We do that consistently and the returns have been reliable. So even though we may not understand necessarily everything there is to know about it, doesn't mean that it's not useful. all. So
I'm asking anything about it. You're just saying what you use it for.
You just literally said that I know what a pen is and how to define it by showing how I use it. So I'm doing the same.
That was no. That was me demonstrating that you were using fallacious reasoning. That wasn't me actually. I was saying this.
No, I was talking about the second example you used, not the first. I was referring to the second example. So I'm moving forward. So what is reliable? It is a method that we use in order to navigate our world and come to conclusions about it. My question to you is that it's actually kind of irrelevant if I think I can account for it or not. I'm not the one who's making the claim that a God exists and can therefore account for it.
You're making the position and that you have knowledge that...
Yes.
Okay, yes. So how do you justify and give an account for logic?
Because I use it.
That's
I understand what the laws. Yes, it is actually. It is. It is. Okay. It is sufficient. I use it.
Claiming something sufficient doesn't make it sufficient.
Well, but actually it is though. I am in a room with you. I can conclude that I'm in a room with you. You can as well, and others can as well. We understand how these things work. But the point is that you're the one who's claiming that the God exists. I am not claiming that.
You're claiming empirical.
That's what I know to use up to this point. So that's what I have.
So where's your empirical demonstration of logic?
The usage of the laws of logic as we define them in their persistence.
Empirical means. Logic, you just said, is immaterial. So
that doesn't mean it can't be demonstrated empirically, though. That's not.
Yes, it does.
No. Actually, no. I'm not saying that logic is a material concept.
A non-empirical thing, by definition, cannot be demonstrated empirically. No, you haven't. You just say you use it. That's again.
No. It's not just me using it.
Let me try to explain this. So it's like the example I did before, right? So somebody asks, how do you account for this pen and how it came to be in your hand and what a pen is? And I just say, well, I use the pen. Am I answering the question?
What I told you is that the use of logic, which is a metaphysical concept, like you said, I understand that. The use of it to apply to things in our environment, the use of the laws are consistent, and that justifies its usage and how I can account for the reason that I and you and others use it. My problem is that it does. My problem is that
it does.
But you agreed that we are in a room together. Oh, we're not? Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know that you.
So I never said I agree. So rhetoric is really good when you follow the arguments. Let's focus on the arguments first, and then we can get to rhetoric later.
No. Here's the thing,
I'm asking you about how you account for logic.
I already gave you.
No, you didn't.
I did.
You just said you use it. What's the it?
No, it's not just me. I'm using the concepts to apply to our environment empirically. I'm not telling you that the concept itself is empirically verified because it is a concept.
So you believe So you believe in something that's non-empirically verified?
No.
That's what you
saying to you. No, what I don't think you're following, Chase. I think you have these preconceived concepts that are preventing you from listening to me. What I'm on it.
It is. I'm going to ask you, what is the it of logic?
It's the usage.
The usage of what? What is the thing?
The usage of the laws of logic. I'm trying to tell you that.
Okay.
But what I'm trying to say to you.
How is that empirically verified? If that's your standard of the things you believe, is they must be empirically verified. Because
the usage, we have these ideas of how logic works, right? We know that this is an AirPod case. It's not something else, right? So
how do you account for that? You're just saying I use it. Okay.
No, it's not just I who use it. It is something, as I said, logic, the laws of logic are what humans came up. Well, we use it, but others quantified them or qualified them.
So they already existed?
So
they already existed?
No. What I'm saying, the laws of logic and the laws of logic, yes. The concept of something being.
So they're changeable.
No, they're not. Listen to me. If you let me finish my sentence, I can tell you what I'm trying to tell you.
Because without
I never said that I had to. No, you don't have.
You do.
No, actually, I don't.
So you have no standard to account for knowledge. Yes, it does, and you have no standard to say that you can actually say that the world would be as it is without us here, there would be physical things out there. You can actually account for the external world and a self that's perceiving these things, and the external world staying the way it is, whether or not we're here or not. You can account for that?
Yes, because I understand the environment in which we live, and I use logic to understand that. What I'm trying to tell you is I can account for the usage of logic, and I've demonstrated that.
No, you
What
haven't.
I'm tell you is I can account for the usage of logic, and I've demonstrated that.
No, you
What
haven't.
okay, well, I have. I've demonstrated it by showing the consistency of using it, and I've demonstrated it by giving examples of how, while it is an abstract concept, when applied in our environment, it can be empirically consistent. I have demonstrated that.
You haven't
What
justified
I
it. The
haven't,
question's about how you
that
account
the
for it.
justification is its repeated reliability.
No, it's giving it, you need to give an account for it. This is what I'm asking.
I already did. I gave
You
you a
gave
reason.
no account. You just said, I use this thing that's immaterial and it
No,
quote,
no, no,
unquote,
no, no.
works
It is a usage that is applied to the material.
of
That's
an
what I'm trying to
immaterial
tell
thing.
you.
And so I'm
Yes, of
asking you,
course.
how do you
Just
account
like
for it?
math.
So do you think, so simple question, does logic need to be accounted for?
The justification for using the logic that you do use
Logic
needs
itself,
to
the
be
thing itself.
So logic is not a thing, as we've already agreed, you and I.
I never,
The
what do you mean?
concept,
I never agree with that.
you already said it was immaterial and metaphysical.
Yeah,
So
thing can mean different things. There's not
okay,
a.
I should have asked what you meant
Yeah,
by
I
thing,
don't. I'm
because
not
when
an.
I think
I'm
of
not a
thing,
materialist, so I can justify and use immaterial things without
I
it
can
having to be
use
physical,
immaterial things. I can use immaterial concepts as well, and I do, just like I
without
demonstrated with
justifying it.
math. I justify it, the use of it, based on its reliability.
That's
Now,
called pragmatism.
Okay, so I
Okay,
don't understand
so
why
if
that's a
pragmatism,
problem.
so the questions about
It's fine.
the standard. Well, okay, here's why it's not fine, right? If your epistemology is based on pragmatism, then I can say that every single time I walk through a doorway, I click my heels 3 times, and I make sure that Thor doesn't come and kill me when I walk through the doorway.
That's not pragmatic, though.
Yes, it is. He's never killed me.
Because
Yeah, he's never killed me.
no. The pragmatism is not simply based on the claim. It's based on the usefulness and demonstration of the things that you're claiming.
Yeah.
So we
And
have
every
not
time I do that
demonstrated
when I
in
walk through the
existence,
door, Thor doesn't kill me.
but that doesn't mean that there's a link to those things, right? We would
Well,
still
now
have
you're
to
appealing to
demonstrate
that
a
thing
link.
you don't have to justify called logic.
I didn't say I didn't have to justify it.
So
I
you
already
do have to
told you.
justify logic?
You have to justify the reasons you're using it. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I'm
so,
trying to
so then
differentiate
I use the
between
Orthodox Christian worldview because it
Okay.
accounts for all of these things. So now it's
Sure.
justified based on your view.
No, because you haven't actually given reasons. I've given
I
reasons.
have given reasons in my opening statement. I listed the account for these things that you can't justify.
No, that's not claiming that the God exists and therefore knowledge exists isn't actually demonstration of that claim. It's
I
valid.
did
and
demonstrate, and I
Okay.
showed how God actually created logic based on his uncreated logi, his divine ideas for it, how we account for a self, how we account for identity over time. I did that all in my opening statement.
Yeah, you
So-
did make those
so now
claims in your
just
opening
claiming
statement, but
that
you
you
didn't
didn't
demonstrate.
Okay, so
You
what?
did
so
not actually show that a God exists in order to make the claims that you're.
I did.
So what you're what
so
you're
here's
doing.
the thing. It's kind of
No,
funny
if I may,
because you
what
just
you're
claim
doing-
that I didn't, and you claim you demonstrate. I actually gave an account, and
What
then
you did
when
is you
you
made claims
no,
as to the traits of a God. You did
when-
not
when you
actually
say-
show the
yeah,
God
you
existed
said
in order to
demonstrate is
embody
only
those
empirical.
traits.
You said demonstrate is only empirical.
Yeah, I would like to see the actual verifiable existence of this deity.
Empirical.
Consistent. Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's
Which
what
means
you
that
said.
there's evidence to evaluate that is testable and repeatable, and it's that lead to the same conclusion
so the
that I
evidence
come to and you come to and others as well. It's not just based on a wishful desire for a God to exist and therefore embody these
what was
traits.
the
God
wishful
itself,
desire? I
the
gave an
wishful
argument.
desire, simply giving an argument that's valid in structure doesn't actually mean that it's
Simply
sound.
claiming that something isn't sound isn't demonstrating it's not sound.
I agree. So here's what I'm going to do. The first premise that, here is it. I want to make sure I don't misquote you. God is the necessary.
So real quick, you're trying to get away from justifying logic because I pinned you
No,
on
I'm
this.
actually not.
You
no,
are.
No, I'm actually not. I already said Okay. Well, you're trying to get away from justifying the existence of God because I've already told
done
you.
it. Go ahead.
No. What
Go
you've
ahead.
done is
Hang on, guys. Hang on.
Go
Just
ahead. Okay.
because
So
that's
you
what
want
has,
an empirical
if I may,
demonstration.
this is what, okay, so just really quickly, when we have these conversations, and I know that you and I are this superfluous, just obnoxious reiteration of the same concepts. You and I are not lay people, and I understand that. But God is not simply just a concept. You
Yeah,
yourself said,
God is personal. Yeah. God is Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Yeah.
boom, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. So my mother would agree with you, my uncle, and when I bring them up because when I talk to them, they're not going to bring this bullshit, right? It's bullshit. This is bullshit.
Why is it bullshit?
And
what's your standard for what's bullshit?
Because you know that the mere logical argument for God isn't going to meet the burden of proof that you have to meet.
It absolutely
in order
does.
to demonstrate.
This is why I'm arguing with you
that
right
you
now.
have to meet that you have to meet in order to demonstrate the fact
So
that
you just claimed I think my argument's bad.
No, yeah, actually you do. Because what the thing is, because here's the thing, right? And I think we got to it because you admitted something important. You admitted that this thing is personal. Yeah. Something being personal means that it has anthropomorphic traits, and at least enough to where we can interpret it, understand it, and it has that same.
We're made in God's image and likeness. Yeah, we're persons as well as God.
So that is a claim about something that exists in our physical environment. And in order to actually it is.
I never said physical. When did I say physical?
First of all, it is, whether you say it or not.
My worldview will dictate what I believe is and isn't. And I just told you.
But the claim, despite
personhood, like I said in my opening statement, is not physical. It's metaphysical.
But
do you believe
also said
personhood is physical? Is your personhood located in your brain?
No. We're not kind of allowing me to finish. I was trying to piggyback.
Well, you're doing unjustified claims, and I'm trying to get you to justify them.
No, I'm actually. But here's what. But you're doing this. Okay, I'm not doing that. But what I would say is you are actually the person who's making unjustified claims, because while I already admitted that the argument you made is logical it's validly logical, it's not sound. And the reason
you haven't demonstrated that.
Actually, I have, and here's why. Because you said clear, that this argument is logical. Fine, validly, sure, but soundness is what's important. Because
demonstrate it's not sound. Stop claiming it.
I already did.
No, you
and if
didn't.
you would allow me to finish, I can show you why.
I'm not going to just let you just repeat the same thing without actually engaging with the debate. This is how debates work.
Okay, hang on. Okay, I got to step in again.
I agree with. Yes, these things like the abstract concept that we use.
Which you can't account for.
I already did, but
no,
we'll
you
just
didn't.
move on to what you're saying.
Hang on. I'm sorry to keep cutting in here, guys. Okay, so this is both sides are interrupting each other. That's how debates work when they are contentious like this. I don't fault either of you. I don't think either of you have actually gotten out of line.
This argument that you've constructed and claim to be true because it's valid in structure.
So that's an emotional appeal. So that's an emotional appeal. Let's focus on the arguments here. It is an emotional appeal. You're saying the only reason you're doing this is because your argument's bad. That's an emotional appeal. Okay.
Not really. It's actually demonstrated by the fact that you have refrained from actually showing empirical evidence that this God exists.
And I've reiterated numerous times. And here's the issue. Here's where you're inconsistent and you're arbitrary, because I have given non-empirical evidences for the account for non-empirical things. You can't give any account for non-empirical things. You just say, well, I use them, and that's my justification. And again, this is the inconsistency and the arbitrariness of your own position. So you're not holding yourself to the standard you're attempting to hold me to at all. And you're not rising to the occasion whatsoever with it.
Actually, I just have.
You've claimed logic is abstract.
I did say that, and I believe you
So now demonstrate it empirically, because that's what you're asking me to do with non-empirical things. There we go. You can't do that. So here's the issue. You can't do that, like you just said. Yet I give an account. Yet I give an account for how this thing is, what it is, how we know it. And you say, no, I need it empirically, but I don't need to do that for myself.
Even though you are unable to actually show the account for the God, which you're saying, I guess you can't.
I never
in
said
a
that. So that's a
non-abstract
nice
setting. I'm
reframe.
sorry.
So
I
that's a nice
was
reframe.
still
You
trying
literally
to
just said you
talk.
can't account for
I
logic.
was trying to talk.
Yeah,
I didn't
but you
say
just
that.
claimed I said I can't, that I said I can't account for it. I never said that.
I was trying to finish a sentence, but I mean, if you want to,
Yeah, it's a debate.
I'm gonna.
This is a debate.
Sure. I mean, you can argue against a straw man of what you think I'm going to say, or you can let me actually finish my sentence and argue against what I'm saying. You can do that.
Okay, well, you said that I said something I didn't say, so go ahead and
I was in the
continue.
process of actually continuing the sentence, and I paused to collect my thoughts, and you
Cool, go
interjected.
ahead.
So
Demonstrated. Demonstration, kind of like in mathematics, right? It's, let's say we have some kind of function, right? Some kind of division, like long division.
me, when I say simply providing a valid argument for something doesn't speak to its soundness or its explanatory power.
And simply claiming something isn't sound isn't demonstrating it. So if I just claim
you, and that's
you're
what
wrong,
I'm trying to do,
and I don't demonstrate it, yeah, but here's the thing: you just keep repeating. You haven't demonstrated. I have demonstrated. I've shown how my premises. I'm repeating my argument, Nikki.
And what I'm doing is, and I'm telling you, your argument isn't sound. So what needs to
demonstrate
happen?
That.
You have not shown that the God is actually empirically verified, because claiming that these
I say God is not empirical, and you don't verify non-empirical things empirically. So now, again, back to the point that you admitted before, you believe in non-empirical things like
Let's
logic.
Let's make God empirical. Let's do that.
You believe in non-empirical things like logic, correct? And I can justify it on your worldview. No, you can't account for it at all, and you admitted that you cannot account for it. So
what I said was I can account for the usage of logic.
Yep,
what I'm asking you to do,
not the thing
which
itself.
Is okay, but here's the thing.
So
that doesn't mean that it's not.
Debate,
that doesn't
Nikki.
mean it's
Nikki,
no. That's not the debate.
That is the debate. You just
that's not the debate.
No, that's not the debate.
No, I'm going to explain it for you real quick, Chase. You just claimed that I cannot. The reason I can, or the fact that I cannot account for logic doesn't mean I can't use it. That's not true. The reason the inability for me to account for it doesn't mean it's not functional, and doesn't mean its usage isn't consistent. What you need
to
it
means you're inconsistent.
No, actually, it's not. And simply saying that you can account for it by saying a God exists needs to be demonstrated.
Is that all I said, Nikki?
No, you said other things, but we're talking specifically
what did I
about
say?
logic.
What did I say logic is?
You said that that God was a necessary precondition for logic, and that God created logic to be able, or to apply to our environment. And what I'm trying to tell you is that you need to demonstrate that. And what I'm trying to do
demonstration is the argument itself. The demonstration again is showing how your premises are logically connected to your conclusion. And when you keep repeating demonstrate, you're leaving out that you're asking for empirical evidence, like you said before in the debate. Yes. So you should start using the term empirical evidence, because demonstrate in philosophy doesn't mean empirical. Yeah, that's not what it means.
You're right. Let's move away from the nonsense. Let's move away from our exclusive esoteric knowledge. Let's move into
it's not esoteric. The audience is smart. They understand.
No. I'm not even referring to the audience. The audience does understand, because they're engaged in these really intriguing and really interesting conversations. What I'm talking about is when you're not engaged in these conversations, when you sit and pray, when you claim that the God manifested in the world, which is empirically verifiable, when Jesus supposedly, if I may, when Jesus supposedly,
I'm not going to let you keep talking when you put words in my mouth.
When Jesus supposedly human, when Jesus supposedly manifested as a human,
when he did. What year is it right now?
I don't really care.
It's 2023, right? What happened 2023 years ago?
The point is simply labeling time a certain way doesn't actually mean that the person existed or existed in the way that.
So you deny that Christ was a person?
I never said that at all.
Good question.
What I was saying.
Here's a good route we can go down.
Okay.
How do you know something, and what is knowledge?
Oh my goodness. You know what? I'm going to stop you right there, because I don't want to go, because we've already done this. We've gone down that rabbit hole. And I think you're right about needing to specify that I'm looking for empirical evidence. So I want to just move forward with that. And here's why I'm looking for it, because we're not simply just kind of talking about energies, as you said. And I understand knowledge and all that. Those are abstracts. I get that. But the problem comes when we're talking about a specific idea of God and how this God manifests in reality. And what I'd like to continue saying is that Jesus, if he did exist, which a lot of people have said that this person existed, and that's fine. I'll say he does, just for the sake of argument.
Well, yeah, if you denied him, you're going to have to not deny pretty much all of history. So that's a good move.
I don't know if that's true, but what I'm going to do, okay, that's fine. You know more about the historicity of Jesus. I have to admit it's never really been a topic of interest for me, but I call him immature.
I wasn't trying to discredit. I was just using a rhetorical point saying you're playing these games and you're being inconsistent. So I'm going to hold you to the standard that you have set out for others. Okay. So you need to now justify the immaterial logic that you use and demonstrate it. Point. Yeah, it is the point, because the point is that that atheists will come and they'll try to appeal to logic, and I don't know why you admitted it's abstract and immaterial, because you can't even remotely account for that. And then you say, I can't justify it. Yeah.
I said I can account for its usage.
And you said you can't account for the thing itself.
Power.
You said
that doesn't mean that its usage isn't demonstrable.
That's not the question, Nikki. The question's about the thing itself.
But let's move. Let's be a little bit more
moving past this.
No, I'm not. I'm not actually asking you to move past it. I actually wanted to go back to what you were saying about the God. If you're you're claiming that
we're not. We're not moving away from this, Nikki.
I'm actually not. I was trying to.
You have claimed that you believe in an immaterial thing that you do not have to justify.
I said you're asking me
to justify. Wait, let me finish. Yeah, and again, you've admitted you can't justify the thing itself.
But that doesn't mean it doesn't have usage, and that its usage can't be demonstrable.
Again, that's not the question, because you can just be pre-programmed through Darwinian evolution to think that to use this thing because it's survival directed. It's nothing to do with truth. Okay. And most likely.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
So you have claimed and admitted you don't have to justify an immaterial thing. I have shown through my argument that the necessary conditions for knowledge are accounted for by God. And that's how I justify the usage of these things as truth conducive. You have foregone any justification of logic itself. And yet you're saying that I haven't demonstrated it, which I have, but your term of demonstration means empirical. This is called being inconsistent and arbitrary. The standards you hold for yourself, you don't accept for me.
No. I'm not talking, I don't know. I haven't studied Alexander.
You don't know. Right? So, but here's the thing. The principle is that a historical
I'm not making claims.
You assume the laws of logic.
Yeah, they do. Thank you for that. So, I said, the laws of logic are useful and functional.
Well, hang on. I think what he's saying is like, how do you appeal? Like, so you say you want Chase to demonstrate, his metaphysical assertions.
That the God exists and is contributing to functional, like real world, actual things. Yeah. Yes, I do.
In an empirical way.
Yeah, you want him to do it empirically, but that would presuppose like the laws of logic already existing, a standard of knowledge already existing.
They do. You're right. They do. I thought I said that. Yes.
Okay. I mean, that's fine.
I said that. Yeah.
Jacob S. for $5. Chase has 2 arguments for Nikki. 1, metaphysical logic explaining God, and then 2, physical, Jesus existing, fulfilling prophecies in the historical records.
No, he doesn't. And in this case, I am literally just saying no, he doesn't. Okay. Somebody actually did mention that I should debate. Who is Andrew's wife? Rachel. Yeah, they should. I don't know what we debate on, but I don't think we have many disagreements.
I think that would be really entertaining. Rachel's a great debater. I think you guys would have a very interesting and lively debate and conversation.
Yeah. I think what would we debate about, though? I don't know what
we can work it out.
Debate about what you debate about.
I like it. Let's set it up.
Appreciate it.
Praise him.
Georgia Porgy for $5, just to make sure you're using the usage of a tool to account for its creation.
Not its creation. Not its creation. I thought I had iterated clearly that humans, based on the environment in which we observe, and I think humans in general didn't actually create or um, humans themselves, like us, as we use it in the lay people, we didn't really create the laws of logic. That was done by Aristotle and other individuals that actually put forth the time to do so. We've been using them, but not necessarily understanding their functionality or why they are functional. So excuse me, sorry about that. That wasn't verbal.